Tutor, where school is made simple. Let's go.
When looking at the quadratic formula, a question that frequently comes up is, where does it come from? Students want to know where it comes from because in many cases it helps them understand. Well, it actually comes from completing the square. So we think back to one of the rules for completing the square, which is that the leading coefficient must be 1. In this case, our leading coefficient is a. So to get rid of this, the first thing we have to do is divide the entire equation by a. Then this becomes x squared plus b over a x plus c over a equals 0. At this point, I can see that my next step is going to be to move the c over a to the other side. And this is to isolate x squared plus b over a x equaling negative c over a. Because now I'm going to begin with completing the square, which says to take the middle term and divide it by 2 and then square it. So this will become b over 2a squared, which becomes b squared over 4a squared, which I'm going to now add to both sides. When I do that, I get x squared plus b over a x plus b squared over 4a squared equals negative c over a plus b squared over 4a squared. Now, the left side will factor out to x plus b over 2a squared equals, and then on this side, I'm going to do a little bit of rearranging and say b squared over 4a squared minus c over a. And at this point, I still have a little work to do on the right side, and I have to get a common denominator. One of my denominators is 4a squared, the other one is a. So if I multiply the right side of this expression by 4a over 4a, it's now going to allow me to use a common denominator. And I get b squared over 4a squared minus 4ac over 4a squared, which will simplify further to b squared minus 4ac over 4a squared. Now I bring down the other side and I have x plus b over 2a squared. Now I'm going to take the square root of both sides and I get x plus b over 2a equals plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 4a squared. And I'm going to take this one step further and simplify this to plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over the square root of 4a squared. Now, in the denominator, the 4 is a perfect square and the a squared is a perfect square. So I can take the square root of both and find that x plus b over 2a equals plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And now I move the b over 2a to the other side with subtraction. And I find that x equals negative b over 2a plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And we can start to see the quadratic formula taking shape already. I have a common denominator, so I simply combine the terms and find out that x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And this is our quadratic formula. We are done, and we have recreated mathematics history.